So on here, I'm going to write off to the side if you want to put a note. The calculator allowed ones are 12 and 13. So we'll, get out Desmos when we get to those. And the ones that correspond to free response questions are 7, 8, 9, and 13. The rest correspond to multiple choice questions. So again, part free response, part multiple choice. Honestly, with these types of problems, I like the free response ones better because you can just leave your answer alone. When it's multiple choice, you have to keep going until the very bitter end to simplify your answer down. So sometimes free response can be better. All right, derivative of ln. Yeah, it's 1 over the stuff. I didn't put a 1 there, though, because what rule is going on? Chain rule. Now, you could put a 1 and then put a little chain rule dot and put it off to the side. I'm just going to put that chain rule in the numerator. So what's your derivative of 5x? 5, good, minus derivative of y is dy dx. Very good. Equals, now we're going to do the other side, kind of catch a break there. Derivative of this side is just 2. Cool. Now it's algebra. That's the only step that's calculus. What would you do next to try and get dy dx by itself? Multiply that stuff over, so it'll be 5 minus dy dx equals 2 times all of that. And then I'll distribute it in the next step. You would minus the 5 over. I'm going to come up here. So it's unfortunately negative dy dx equals, you distribute this. Yes, you are correct. I heard you saying the answer here. 10x minus 2y, and then we have to subtract the 5 over. And because it's negative dy dx, everything is going to flip-flop its sign. So it would be negative 10x plus 2y plus 5. Just listening to you talk your way through it, it sounded like that went okay. Did I go okay? Like it sounded all right. That one was fine. Okay. Derivative of 3x is just 3 equals, now what rule am I going to need on this side? Well, okay, how does quotient rule start? Because if you get the ball rolling, you'll probably get the rest of it. Denominator. Good. Derivative of the numerator 0 is actually nice because all of that's going to go away. Then what? Minus. Yep, 5. Numerator, derivative of the denominator is dy dx. Good. Over 4 squared. Perfect. Good. Nice job. That sounded like that went okay. And now it's algebra. Again, this part's all gone. If you want to just scribble it out, 0 times anything is going to just be 0. You would multiply the y minus 4 squared over, so it's going to look like this. I'm not going to read all that to you because that's just going to put you to sleep. All right, and then what's your last step? Yep. Divide by negative 5. I'm not going to rewrite it. It's going to correspond to a multiple choice question. So at that point, you would just be looking at the choices trying to match up your answer. All right. Derivative of 2e to the x is 2e to the x plus dy dx, good, equals, and then what rule do we need for this part? Good, nice. Identifying the rule is like half the battle. All right, the first thing, derivative of the second. So derivative of y squared would be 2y dy dx. Good, and you guys are really good about remembering to put the dy dx on there too. This is going to go really well. All right, plus the second thing is y squared. Derivative of the first. Derivative of x is just 1. If you don't want to write it, that's fine. At this point, I'm fine with you not writing. Minus e to the 4th. E is a number. So e to the 4th is also just a number, and the derivative of a constant is 0. So that part's gone. So we're actually finished. All right. Now you have 2 choices here, and I'll go whichever route you want to do. You can either do the algebra and rearrange it so that dy dx is by itself first, and then plug in the 3 and the 4, or you can go ahead and plug in the 3 and the 4 right away. I kind of like to plug in the numbers because numbers are easier to do than variables, but if you'd rather do the algebra, I'll do that too. Whatever you guys want to do. So do you want to rearrange it first, or do you want to plug in the numbers first? Plug in the numbers? Okay. So if we plug in 3 for x and 4 for y, we're going to have 2e to the third plus dy dx equals, and again, you're plugging in 3 for x and 4 for y. So we would have 3 times 2 times 4, which would give you what? Good, 24 dy dx plus, plugging in 4 for y would be 16. I like to plug in the numbers first. Again, numbers are easier to use than variables. That's what I would do. And now it's algebra. I'm going to subtract over the 16. So it would be 2e cubed minus 16. And then I'm going to subtract over this dy dx. It's really a 1 dy dx if you want to put a 1 there, like if that helps you. If not, that's fine. But if you subtract that over, what are we going to have on this side? 23 dy dx. And then your last step, divide by 23. Cool. Derivative of 4e to the y is 4e to the y, but then dy dx. Anytime you do a derivative with a y, you just chain on a dy dx. Minus, all right, derivative of e to the power y cubed. It's going to be e to the power y cubed. And then you're going to chain on the derivative of y cubed, which would be 3y squared dy dx. Good. You can, personal preference. If you want to put the 3 out front here, that's fine too. And then that part would just be y squared if you want to put the, yeah, however you want to write it, it means the exact same thing. Where am I at? Equals. Sometimes I get lost in these problems because it looks like the alphabet threw up on your paper. All right, equals, derivative of 2x, just be 2 plus 5x to the 4th. So again, I recommend plugging in the numbers right away rather than trying to rearrange it. Numbers are easier to use than variables. And this is nice numbers you're going to plug in. We're going to plug in 1 for x and 1 for y. So 4e to the 1, that would just be 4e dy. I mean, I guess you can write the 1 if you want to. Minus, I'll put the 3 out front in this step because I agree with you on that. If y is 1, 1 squared is just 1, so it's going to stay the same. And then it would be e to the 1, which again is just e dy dx. It kind of all went away because it was 1s, which is convenient. All right, equals, and then what will we have over on the other side? 2 plus 5, so 7. So if you have 4e dy dx minus 3e dy dx, that is going to give you, yeah, 1e dy dx. You can put the 1 if you want to. And then your last step, divide over the e. So 7 over e. Which again, e, do you remember about how much e is? Close, yeah, it's 2.718. I only know that because I'm a math teacher. I expect you to walk around knowing it. But if you know it's 2 point something, I'm happy. And if you know it's a number, then we're good. All right, we got one more of these and then it goes on to related rates. So we'll at least finish this one here before we do our break. All right, derivative of x to the 4th. 4x cubed. Now this is a product rule and it is subtraction. So you have to subtract both parts of the product rule. Okay, so it'll be minus the first thing is 2x. Derivative of the second is dy dx. Good. Now, and then again, product rule would be plus, but we're going to do minus. You have to minus the whole thing. The second thing, which is y, and then derivative of 2x is just 2. Equals, not 9, 0. I guarantee you, because it's a multiple choice one of the wrong answers will be if you left the 9 there. Because it's such a common mistake, they're going to do that. But derivative of 9 is 0. All right. We're being asked for an equation here. So you need a point and a slope. They gave us the whole point, which is good. Slope comes from derivative. We're going to plug in 1 for x, -4 for y, and solve this. All right. So if x is 1, this first part's just going to be 4 minus 2 dy dx. Now y is -4, so that's going to end up being +8, good, equals 0. So 4 + 8 is 12, and we're just doing algebra at this point. So what is can you do that in your head? What is dy dx going to be? I'll talk you through it if we need to, but it'll be 6. Good, your slope is 6. And then you just put it all together. That's your point, that's your slope. So it'll be y + 4 = 6, parenthesis, x - 1. I will go ahead and tell you, though, on that multiple choice one, every single answer choice is the exact same except for the slopes. So once you get that the slope is whatever you get, then you can just pick the answer.